Everyone thinks this is just drama, but this is only the prologue.
The engagement ring felt like a lead weight in my jacket pocket as I sat across from the empty chair at Romano's, watching couples around me share intimate Valentine's dinners. My name's Ethan Doyle, and I'm a mechanical engineer who apparently can't engineer a simple marriage proposal without getting completely screwed over. Sorry, babe, hanging with the girls tonight. Rain check? Tessa's text had arrived exactly 37 minutes after our reservation time. 37 minutes of me sitting here like an idiot, fielding pitying looks from the waitstaff while nursing a glass of wine that cost more than my monthly Netflix subscription. The ring, a 2-carat diamond that had decimated my savings account, seemed to mock me from its velvet prison. I'd practiced the speech for weeks. Honestly, I'd even rehearsed it in the bathroom mirror at work, much to the confusion of my coworker Dave, who'd walked in mid-proposal. My phone buzzed with another message from Tessa. Maya's having boy troubles. You know how it is. Love you. Right, Maya's boy troubles. The same Maya who'd been having boy troubles every Friday night for the past 3 months, coincidentally always requiring Tessa's immediate attention whenever we had plans. I pulled out my phone and opened the camera app. Time for some therapeutic social media. Hey everyone, Ethan here, I said, holding up the ring box. So, funny story. I'm sitting at Romano's right now, waiting for my girlfriend of 3 years to show up for what was supposed to be our engagement dinner, but apparently, her friend's dating drama takes priority over our relationship. I paused, letting that sink in for the camera. You know what? I think this ring deserves to go to someone who actually appreciates commitment. So tomorrow morning, I'm donating this to the women's shelter downtown. Maybe they can auction it off for something useful. I ended the video and posted it immediately to Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. Within minutes, the likes started pouring in. Comments ranged from supportive, "You deserve better," to savage, "Dodged a bullet, bro." My phone rang. Rick's name flashed on the screen. "Dude, I just saw your video," Rick said. He owned Murphy's Pub downtown, the kind of dive bar where the beer was cheap and the advice was free. "Get your A down here. First 3 rounds are on me." "I don't know, Rick. I should probably go home and what? Sit in your apartment feeling sorry for yourself? Heck no. Come drink your feelings like a proper adult." 20 minutes later, I was perched on a bar stool at Murphy's, watching Rick pour whiskey with the precision of a surgeon. "So let me get this straight," Rick said, sliding the glass across the scarred wooden bar. 3 years together, and she blows off your proposal dinner for girls' night? "Apparently Maya's having relationship problems," I said, taking a sip. The whiskey burned, but it was a good burn. Rick snorted. "Maya Rodriguez? The one who works at that fancy gym downtown?" "CrossFit place. Yeah, why?" Before Rick could answer, a familiar laugh echoed from the corner booth. I turned to see Carla Martinez, one of Tessa's best friends, holding court with a group of women I recognized from various social media posts. "I'm telling you, Tessa's got this whole thing figured out," Carla was saying, her voice carrying across the bar. "She's got her boring engineer boyfriend paying all the bills while she has fun with her trainer." My blood turned to ice. "Nick's got those arms, you know," Carla continued. "And that motorcycle. God, remember when she sent us that selfie from his apartment? The one where you could see his bed in the background?" The whiskey glass slipped from my numb fingers, clattering against the bar. Rick caught my expression. "Easy there, buddy." "Her trainer?" I managed. "Nick Riley," Rick said quietly. "Owns that custom car shop on 5th Street. Used to come in here bragging about all the married women he was entertaining." The pieces clicked into place with sickening clarity. Tessa's sudden obsession with fitness 6 months ago. The new workout clothes that cost more than my monthly grocery budget. The way she'd started putting her phone face down during dinner. "I need some air, I said, standing up too quickly. "Ethan, wait," but I was already pushing through the door into the cold February night. I walked aimlessly for 20 minutes, my mind churning, until I found myself on 5th Street. Riley's custom cars sat on the corner, its neon sign casting blue shadows on the sidewalk. Through the large windows, I could see someone working on a cherry red Mustang. That's when I saw them. Tessa was pressed against the side of a black motorcycle, her arms wrapped around a guy who definitely wasn't me. He was tall, muscular, with the kind of sleeve tattoos that probably cost more than my car. Nick Riley, I presumed. They were laughing about something, completely absorbed in each other. Tessa threw her head back, and even from across the street, I could see the genuine joy on her face, the kind of joy I hadn't seen directed at me in months. I stood there for what felt like hours, watching my girlfriend of 3 years make out with her trainer like teenagers behind the school gym. Finally, they climbed onto his bike and roared off into the night. I walked home in a daze, my apartment feeling smaller and shabbier than usual, and the framed photos of Tessa and me seemed to mock me from every surface. Our vacation to the Bahamas last year, her birthday party, Christmas morning, all lies. I sat on my couch, staring at the engagement ring box on my coffee table. My phone showed 43 notifications from my viral video shares, comments, messages of support from friends and strangers alike. But all I could think about was Tessa's laugh, the way she'd looked at Nick like he was the most fascinating person in the world, the way she used to look at me. I picked up my phone and started typing a text to Tessa, then deleted it. Started another one. Deleted that, too. What was I supposed to say? Hey, honey, saw you making out with your trainer tonight. How was girls' night? Instead, I opened my notes app and started making a list. Engineers solve problems methodically, and this was just another problem to solve. Problem. Girlfriend of 3 years is cheating with her trainer. Variables. Mutual friends who apparently know about it. Shared apartment lease. Joint bank account. Desired outcome. I stared at that question mark for a long time. What did I want? To win her back? To expose her? To pretend I'd never seen anything? No. I wanted something else entirely. I wanted them to feel exactly as humiliated and betrayed as I felt right now. I wanted war. And unlike Tessa, I was good at planning. The next morning, I called in sick to work. Not entirely a lie, I felt like I'd been hit by a truck driven by my cheating girlfriend and her muscle-bound boyfriend. Tessa had texted around midnight, "Hope you're not mad about dinner. Maya really needed me. Make it up to you this weekend?" I'd stared at that heart emoji for 5 solid minutes. The casual dishonesty of it was almost impressive. I texted back, "Well, no worries, got a lot of work to catch up on anyway." While Tessa was at her job selling medical equipment to hospitals, I started my reconnaissance mission. First stop, social media deep dive. Nick Riley's Instagram was a treasure trove of toxic masculinity. Shirtless gym selfies, photos of his custom cars, and, most interesting, pictures with various women who were conspicuously not wearing wedding rings, despite the tan lines on their fingers. I scrolled back 6 months and found it. A photo of Nick at some CrossFit competition, with Tessa clearly visible in the background. The timestamp showed it was from the weekend she'd told me she was visiting her sister in Portland. My phone rang, Rick's name on the screen. "How you holding up?" he asked. "I've been better." "Listen, what else do you know about this Nick guy?" "Why? You're not thinking of doing something stupid, are you?" "Define stupid." Rick sighed. "Ethan, I've seen this movie before. Guy finds out his girl is cheating, guy confronts the other guy ends up in jail or the hospital. Sometimes both. I'm not going to fight him, Rick. I'm smarter than that." "Good, because he's got about 40 pounds on you and a history of bar fights." "History? Did 6 months in county a few years back for assault. Some husband caught him with his wife. Nick put the guy in the hospital." "Interesting. A pattern." "Rick, I need a favor. Can you ask around about him, quietly? I need to know what I'm dealing with." There was a long pause. "You sure about this path you're going down?" "I'm sure about not being made a fool of." After Rick hung up, I drove to Tessa's gym. CrossFit Ironworks occupied a converted warehouse in the trendy part of downtown, all exposed brick and industrial lighting. Through the windows, I could see people flipping tires and doing other exercises that looked like punishment for crimes in previous lives. I parked across the street and waited. At 11:30, Tessa's white Honda pulled into the lot. She got out wearing yoga pants that probably cost more than my monthly car payment, grabbed a gym bag from her trunk, and headed inside. 15 minutes later, Nick emerged from a side door. Even from a distance, he looked exactly like the kind of guy who'd steal someone's girlfriend, all swagger and carefully maintained stubble. He climbed into a black pickup truck and drove off. I followed him. Nick's first stop was a coffee shop on Elm Street. He ordered something complicated and expensive, then sat at an outdoor table, despite the February chill. He was joined by another guy I didn't recognize, shorter, stockier, with prison tattoos covering his arms. I parked where I could watch them and rolled down my window slightly. Engineers have good hearing, occupational hazard of working around loud machinery. Told you, the wife's got money, Nick was saying. Husband's some kind of engineer, makes decent cash. She's already talking about leaving him. And then what? The other guy asked. Then I move on to the next one. That's the beauty of the trainer thing, man. These bored housewives throw themselves at you. What about the current one? Teresa? Tessa. And she's getting clingy, talking about us getting serious. Nick laughed. Chick doesn't realize she's just another notch. Though I gotta admit, she's been useful. Pays for half my bike payments without even realizing it. My hands tightened on the steering wheel. Tessa had been loaning him money? You're playing with fire, man, the other guy said. What if the husband finds out? What's he gonna do? Guy looks like he's never been in a fight in his life. Besides, most of these guys are too embarrassed to do anything. They just take it and move on. Nick's phone rang. He answered with a grin. Hey, beautiful. Yeah, I missed you too. Tonight, can't. I've got plans. No, not another woman, just business. You're so paranoid, and he laughed. Fine, come by the shop around 8. Wear that blue dress I like. He hung up and shook his head. See what I mean? Clingy. I'd heard enough. I followed Nick to 2 more stops, a parts supplier and a bank, before he returned to the gym. Each location gave me more pieces of the puzzle. At the parts supplier, Nick argued loudly about a past due account. At the bank, he spent 20 minutes in what looked like a very uncomfortable conversation with a loan officer. Nick Riley wasn't just a scumbag. He was a broke scumbag. That evening, I positioned myself across from Nick's shop with a camera. Sure enough, at 8:15, Tessa's Honda pulled up. She was wearing the blue dress, one I'd bought her for her birthday last year. I watched them through the shop windows, watched her laugh at his jokes, watched him pour wine from a bottle that was probably charged to her credit card, watched them disappear into what I assumed was an office in the back. My phone buzzed with a text from Tessa. Working late tonight, don't wait up, love you. The sheer audacity of it was breathtaking. I was about to leave when another car pulled up, a silver BMW that I recognized immediately. Maya Rodriguez got out and walked to the shop's side door, which opened before she could knock. Interesting. What was Maya doing here? Through a side window, I watched Maya, Nick, and Tessa in what looked like an intense conversation. Maya kept gesturing angrily while Nick tried to calm her down. Tessa looked confused and increasingly upset. After 10 minutes, Maya stormed out and drove away. Nick followed her outside, shouting something I couldn't hear. When he went back inside, I saw him and Tessa arguing. She was crying now, pointing toward the door Maya had used. Nick grabbed her shoulders, shook his head, then pulled her close. Whatever Maya had told them, it had rattled them both. My phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. We need to talk. Coffee tomorrow, 10 a.m., Starbucks on Market Street. Come alone, Maya. But how did she get my number? I drove home with my head spinning. The simple story I'd constructed, cheating girlfriend, scumbag trainer, was getting more complicated by the hour. Back in my apartment, I spread everything out on my kitchen table like a detective in a movie. Photos, notes, timelines, the evidence of my girlfriend's betrayal, but also something bigger. Maya's involvement suggested this wasn't just about Tessa and Nick. There were other players in this game, other secrets waiting to be uncovered. I looked at the engagement ring still sitting in its box on my coffee table. Tomorrow, I'd planned to donate it to the women's shelter, as promised in my viral video. But now I was thinking it might be more useful as bait. Engineers don't just solve problems. We build solutions. And I was starting to see the blueprint for something beautiful. Maya Rodriguez was already waiting when I arrived at Starbucks, nursing a large coffee and checking her phone with the nervous energy of someone who'd rather be anywhere else. She was prettier than her social media photos suggested. Dark hair, sharp features, the kind of confident posture that came from regular gym attendance. Ethan? She asked as I approached her corner table. I nodded and sat down across from her. You wanted to talk. I saw your video, she said without preamble. The engagement ring thing. It's all over social media. Yeah, well, it seemed like the right thing to do at the time. Maya studied my face like she was trying to solve a puzzle. You know about Nick. Wasn't a question. I know enough, I said. The question is, what do you know? She laughed bitterly. I know Nick Riley is a lying, cheating bastard who's been playing your girlfriend like a violin. I also know Tessa isn't his only side piece. Let me guess, you're another one? Was. Her jaw tightened. 6 months ago, before he moved on to your girlfriend, but that's not why I'm here. She pulled out her phone and showed me a photo. Nick and a blonde woman I didn't recognize, taken at what looked like a hotel bar. That's Jennifer Walsh, married to a doctor, 2 kids. Nick's been seeing her for 3 weeks. She swiped to another photo. Nick with a different woman, this one a redhead. Lisa Chen, husband's a lawyer. They've been meeting at that motel on Route 9. Jesus, how many? At least 5 that I know of, all married, all with money. Maya's voice was flat, professional. Nick's got a system. He targets women who are bored with their marriages, makes them feel special, gets them emotionally dependent, then bleeds them dry. And you know this how? Because I helped him do it. She met my eyes directly. I work at the gym. I'd identify potential targets, introduce them to Nick, even cover for them with their friends. I thought we were partners. Until he dumped you for Tessa. Until he dumped me for a bigger score. Maya's smile was sharp as a blade. Your girlfriend's been more generous than most. Did you know she's been paying his rent for 2 months? The coffee in my stomach turned acidic. What? $1,500 a month, direct deposit. She thinks she's helping him get back on his feet after some sob story about his sick mother. I thought about our joint checking account, about the mysterious withdrawals Tessa had explained as girl stuff and personal expenses. Why are you telling me this? I asked. Because Nick screwed me over, and now he's screwing you over. The enemy of my enemy is my friend, right? What do you want? Maya leaned forward. I want to destroy him, completely. His business, his reputation, his little harem of married women. I want him to lose everything. And Tessa, she's collateral damage. Though honestly, after watching her parade around the gym like she's the first woman to ever steal a trainer, I won't lose sleep over it. I studied Maya's face. She was angry, hurt, and looking for revenge. All things I understood completely. What did you have in mind? I asked. Maya smiled for the first time since I'd sat down. I'm glad you asked. Over the next hour, Maya laid out everything she knew about Nick's operation, the married women he was seeing, their schedules, their financial situations, the gym members who suspected something but hadn't said anything, the informal network of enablers and cover story providers that kept his scheme running. The beauty of it, Maya explained, is that none of these women can expose him without exposing themselves. They're all trapped by their own lies. But we're not. Exactly. We're the scorned ex-girlfriend and the betrayed boyfriend. We've got nothing to hide and everything to gain. She showed me more photos on her phone, screenshots of text messages, receipts, even a few audio recordings. I started documenting everything after he dumped me, she admitted. I was planning to use it to win him back. Pathetic, right? Not pathetic, strategic. Maya's plan was elegant in its simplicity. We'd expose Nick's scheme to all his victims simultaneously, turning his strength, their silence, into his weakness. The married women would panic, cut off his funding, and likely confess to their husbands to get ahead of the scandal. What about Tessa? I asked. What about her? She made her choice. I want her to understand what that choice cost her. Maya nodded slowly. Personal revenge. I can respect that. What did you have in mind? I told her about the engagement ring, about the proposal dinner, about watching them together through the shop window. Maya listened without interruption, her expression growing more sympathetic. She really hurt you, she said finally. She really did. Okay, we'll make sure she knows exactly what she threw away. But first, we need to gather more evidence. Are you free tomorrow night? Why? Because Nick's having a little party at his shop. Invitation only, if you know what I mean. Several of his clients will be there, including your girlfriend. How do you know? Maya's smile was predatory. Because I'm still on the guest list. He thinks I'm over him, and we can be friends. Men are so stupid sometimes. We spent another hour planning. Maya would attend the party and document everything she could. I'd provide technical support, cameras, recording equipment, whatever she needed. We'd coordinate our evidence release for maximum impact. As we prepared to leave, Maya grabbed my arm. Ethan, I need you to understand something. Once we start this, there's no going back. Nick's gonna know it was us, and he's not gonna take it quietly. I'm not worried about Nick. You should be. He's got a temper and a history of violence. And some of these women's husbands, they're not gonna be happy either. I thought about that for a moment. Are you having second thoughts? Heck no. I just want to make sure you're ready for war. I looked out the coffee shop window at the ordinary people going about their ordinary lives, unaware that their neighbor or coworker or trainer might be systematically betraying them. I've been ready since Valentine's Day, I said. Maya nodded and stood to leave. At the door, she turned back. For what it's worth, Ethan, your girlfriend's an idiot. That video you posted, it showed more character than Nick's ever had in his entire life. After she left, I sat alone for a while, processing everything I'd learned. The scope of Nick's operation was bigger than I'd imagined. He wasn't just a guy having affairs, he was running a sophisticated con game that had destroyed multiple marriages and families. And Tessa wasn't just cheating on me, she was funding it. I pulled out my phone and looked at my viral video from 2 days ago. It had over 50,000 views now, with hundreds of comments. Most were supportive, but a few made me pause. This is so fake. Nobody donates a ring like that. Attention seeking much? Plot twist. She's cheating, and he knows it. That last comment had over 100 likes. Maybe I wasn't as good an actor as I'd thought. Or maybe people were just naturally suspicious of public displays of heartbreak. Either way, I had work to do. I drove to the electronics store and bought everything Maya and I had discussed. Tiny cameras, audio recorders, a laptop for editing. The total came to $800, money I'd planned to spend on a honeymoon. Now it was going towards something much more satisfying. The next evening, I parked 3 blocks from Nick's shop and walked through the alley behind the building. Maya had texted me the layout earlier. The party was in the main garage area, with Nick's office providing a private space for more intimate conversations. I'd spent the day installing micro cameras and the equipment Maya would carry. A pen camera, a button camera, even a tiny device hidden in her earrings. If this was going to work, we needed everything documented. My phone buzzed. Going in now, wish me luck. M. Through the shop's windows, I could see the party in full swing. Maybe 20 people, mostly women, all dressed like they were trying to impress someone. Nick held court in the center, wearing a tight black t-shirt that showed off his gym-sculpted physique, and there was Tessa, laughing at something he'd said, her hand resting possessively on his arm. I activated the recording equipment and settled in to wait. For the first hour, everything seemed normal. People drank wine, admired Nick's cars, and made small talk. Maya moved through the crowd like a professional, chatting with the women I now knew were Nick's victims. Then things got interesting. Through my earpiece, I heard Maya approach Jennifer Walsh, the blonde from the photos. Jennifer, right? I'm Maya. I work at the gym. Oh yes, Nick's mentioned you. You two used to date? Briefly. We're better as friends. How are things with you and Nick? Wonderful. Jennifer's voice dropped to a whisper. He's been so supportive during my divorce proceedings. I don't know what I'd do without him. Divorce proceedings? That was news? Maya continued working the room, gathering intelligence. Lisa Chen was taking a break from her marriage. Another woman, Sandra, was planning to leave her husband as soon as her kids graduated high school. All of them thought they were Nick's only serious relationship. Around 9 o'clock, Nick called for everyone's attention. Ladies and gentlemen, he announced, I want to thank you all for being here tonight. This shop, this business, it's only possible because of your support and friendship. Polite applause. Several women looked at him like he was a movie star. I also want to make a special announcement. Nick reached for Tessa's hand and pulled her forward. Some of you know Tessa, my special friend. Well, I'm happy to say that things between us are getting serious. My stomach clenched as Tessa beamed at the crowd. In fact, Nick continued, Tessa's been helping me expand the business. Thanks to her investment, we're opening a second location next month. Investment? I thought about our joint savings account, about the money I'd been setting aside for our future. The crowd congratulated them both. Several women looked uncomfortable, probably the ones who thought they were Nick's special friend. Maya caught my eye through the window and nodded slightly. She was getting everything. Around 10:30, people started leaving. I watched Jennifer Walsh storm out after what looked like a heated conversation with Nick. Lisa Chen left in tears after seeing him kiss Tessa goodbye. By 11, only a handful of people remained. Nick, Tessa, Maya, and two other women I didn't recognize. That's when Nick's demeanor changed. "Maya, we need to talk," he said, his voice losing its earlier warmth. "About what?" "About the questions you've been asking tonight, about the photos you've been taking." My blood went cold. Maya's camera was hidden, but Nick was sharper than I'd given him credit for. "I don't know what you mean," Maya said, but I could hear the tension in her voice. "Sure you do. See, the thing about having a security system is that it records everything, including people taking pictures of my guests without permission." Through my earpiece, I heard footsteps. Multiple people moving. "Nick, what's going on?" Tessa asked. "What's going on is that your friend Maya here is working with someone. Probably that pathetic boyfriend of yours." "Ex-boyfriend," Tessa corrected automatically. "Right, the one who posted that viral video about the engagement ring. Very touching, by the way. Really got people's sympathy." I could hear Maya's breathing getting faster. This was going sideways quickly. "I think you should leave," Nick told Maya. "I think you're right," she replied. But as Maya moved toward the door, Nick stepped in front of her. "Not so fast. I want to see your phone. And that purse. And whatever recording equipment you're carrying. I don't have any—" "Maya." Nick's voice was dangerous now. "I've been doing this for a long time. I know when someone's working an angle. The question is whether we handle this like adults or if I have to get unpleasant." Through the window, I could see the situation escalating. Nick had moved closer to Maya, using his size to intimidate her. The other women looked confused and scared. I had to do something. I pulled out my phone and called emergency. "Emergency? What's your emergency?" "I'm at Riley's Custom Cars on 5th Street. There's a domestic dispute in progress. A man is threatening a woman." "Are you inside the building, sir?" "No, I'm across the street. But I can see everything through the windows. Officers are on the way. Please stay on the line." While I waited for the police, I heard Maya trying to de-escalate the situation. "Nick, you're scaring everyone. Let me leave and we'll forget this happened." "I don't think so. See, I've worked too hard building this business to let some bitter ex-girlfriend ruin it." "What business?" Tessa asked. "Nick, what is she talking about?" "Nothing, baby. Maya's just confused about our relationship. She thought we were more serious than we were." "That's not what this is about," Maya said. "Then what is it about?" Maya looked directly at Tessa. "It's about the fact that you're not the only married woman he's sleeping with." The silence that followed was deafening. "That's a lie," Tessa said, but her voice wavered. "Is it? Ask him about Jennifer Walsh. Ask him about Lisa Chen. Ask him about the motel receipts and the credit card charges and the rent money that's coming from 5 different women." "Maya, shut up," Nick warned. "Or what? You'll hit me, like you hit that woman's husband last year?" Red and blue lights flashed outside as police cars pulled up. "Crap," Nick muttered. Through my earpiece, I heard chaos as everyone tried to figure out what was happening. The police knocked on the door, and Nick had no choice but to let them in. "Evening, folks. We got a call about a disturbance." "Just a misunderstanding, officer," Nick said, turning on the charm. "My ex-girlfriend here was getting a little emotional about our breakup." "That's not what happened," Maya said immediately. "This man was threatening me and preventing me from leaving." "Ma'am, do you feel unsafe?" "Yes." The officer looked around the room, taking in the nervous faces and tense atmosphere. "I think it might be best if everyone goes home for the evening," he said. "Sir, I'm going to need you to step back and let the lady leave." Nick complied, but his eyes promised retribution. Maya gathered her things and headed for the door. As she passed Tessa, she stopped. "Ask him about the money, Tessa. Ask him where your investment really went." Then she was gone, escorted to her car by one of the officers. I waited until the police left before calling Maya. "Are you okay?" "I'm fine. Shaken up, but fine." "Did you get everything?" "Every word. The cameras, too." "Oh, yeah. We've got enough evidence to bury him." "Good, because after tonight, he's going to be looking for us." "Let him look. We've got everything we need." I drove home with my mind racing. The plan was working, but it was also escalating faster than we'd anticipated. Nick knew we were coming for him now, which made him dangerous, but it also made him desperate. And desperate people make mistakes. Back in my apartment, I uploaded all the audio and video files to my laptop. Hours of footage showing Nick's operation in detail. His victims, his lies, his threats. Tomorrow, we'd start releasing it all. But first, I had one more call to make. I dialed Tessa's number. She answered on the first ring. "Ethan, it's late. I know about Nick," I said simply. Silence. I know about the money. I know about the other women. I know about all of it. Ethan, I can explain. No need. I just wanted you to know that I know. Sleep well, Tessa. I hung up and turned off my phone. Tomorrow, the real war would begin. I woke up to 17 missed calls from Tessa and 43 text messages ranging from desperate, please call me, to angry, how dare you spy on me, to manipulative, I love you, not him. I deleted them all without reading past the preview text. Maya and I met at a different coffee shop across town. She looked tired but determined, with the focused energy of someone who'd found their purpose. I've been up all night editing the footage, she said, sliding a USB drive across the table. Everything's organized by woman. Jennifer, Lisa, Sandra, and 3 others I identified from last night. What about Tessa? Separate folder. I figured you'd want it to handle her personally. I plugged the drive into my laptop. Maya had done professional level work. Clear audio, steady video, even subtitles for the quieter conversations. The evidence was highly incriminating and comprehensive. When do we release it? I asked. I was thinking we start with the husbands. Let them confront their wives privately before we go public. Give them a chance to control the narrative. That's surprisingly considerate, Maya shrugged. I'm not trying to destroy innocent people, just the guilty ones. We spent the morning researching the husbands. Dr. Richard Walsh, Jennifer's husband, had a practice in the suburbs. Attorney Michael Chen worked at a downtown law firm. Sandra's husband owned a construction company. All successful men who probably had no idea their wives were funding their trainer's lifestyle. I'll handle the first 3, Maya said. You focus on Tessa and Nick. What's my timeline? Give me until this afternoon. Once the husbands know, word will spread fast. We'll have maybe 6 hours before Nick realizes what's happening. I spent the afternoon preparing my own surprise for Tessa. If she wanted to play games with our joint finances, I could play games too. My first stop was our bank. As a joint account holder, I had every right to transfer our savings to a new account in my name only. $15,000, money we'd saved for a house down payment. Money she'd been secretly funneling to Nick. My second stop was our landlord's office. Our lease was month to month, and I gave 30 days notice. Tessa could find her own place, preferably with her trainer boyfriend. My third stop was the storage unit I'd rented that morning. I packed everything that belonged to me, clothes, electronics, my engineering textbooks, family photos. Everything else, I left exactly where it was. By 4 o'clock, I was sitting in Rick's bar, waiting for the fireworks to begin. You sure about this path you're going down? Rick asked, polishing a glass with unnecessary intensity. Too late for second thoughts now. It's never too late until someone gets hurt. Someone already got hurt, me. Rick nodded slowly. Fair enough, but when this blows up, and it will blow up, you make sure you're not standing too close to the explosion. At 4:23 p.m., my phone rang. Tessa's name on the screen. I let it go to voicemail. At 4:31, it rang again. This time I answered. Hello, Tessa. Ethan, what the heck did you do? Her voice was shrill with panic. I'm going to need you to be more specific. The bank account, the apartment. My friends are getting calls from their husbands asking about Nick. Sounds like a busy day for everyone. This is serious. Jennifer's husband is filing for divorce. Lisa's marriage is over. You've ruined people's lives. I didn't ruin anything. I just revealed what was already ruined. Ethan, please. We can work this out. I made a mistake, but we can fix this. A mistake, Tessa? You've been cheating on me for months. You've been stealing money from our joint account to pay your boyfriend's rent. You were planning to leave me for him. That's not true. Which part? Because I have it all on video. Silence. You recorded me? I recorded him. You just happened to be there. Ethan, I love you. I know I screwed up, but I love you. No, you don't. You love the security I provided. You love having someone to pay the bills while you played house with your trainer. That's not fair. Fair? You want to talk about fair? Fair would have been breaking up with me before you started screwing someone else. Fair would have been not stealing our savings to fund your affair. I could hear her crying now, but it didn't move me the way it once would have. What do you want? She asked finally. I want you to understand that actions have consequences. I want you to feel as humiliated and betrayed as I felt watching you with him through that shop window. You were watching us? Valentine's Day night. After you blew off our engagement dinner for girls' night, I saw you on his motorcycle, Tessa. I saw you wearing the dress I bought you for your birthday. Oh God, Ethan, I'm so sorry. Sorry you got caught. Sorry I hurt you. If you were sorry you hurt me, you would have stopped hurting me. Instead, you kept lying, kept stealing, kept making a fool of me in front of everyone we know. My phone buzzed with a text from Maya. It's done. All husbands have been contacted. 3 divorces filed already. Nick's losing his crap. I have to go, I told Tessa. Wait, where are you staying? We need to talk about this. We just did. I hung up and immediately got another call from an unknown number. Yeah? Is this Ethan Doyle? The voice was rough, angry. Who's asking? This is Nick Riley. We need to talk. I don't think we do. Listen, you pathetic piece of crap. I don't know what game you think you're playing, but it ends now. Actually, Nick, I think it's just getting started. You have no idea who you're messing with. Sure I do. I'm messing with a broke con artist who preys on married women. I'm messing with a guy who's about to lose his business, his income, and his freedom. My freedom? Check your email. I sent copies of everything to the police, the IRS, and the State Attorney General's office. Fraud, extortion, operating a business without proper licenses. You've been busy. The silence stretched for nearly 30 seconds. You son of a witch. Probably. But I'm a son of a witch who's smarter than you. We'll see about that. The line went dead. Rick looked at me with concern. That sounded ominous. He's all talk. What's he going to do? Beat up every husband in the city? He might try to beat up one husband, specifically you. Let him try. I've got everything documented, including that phone call. If anything happens to me, the police will know exactly where to look. My phone rang again, Maya this time. How are you holding up? She asked. Better than expected. You? Exhausted but satisfied? Jennifer's husband wants to hire me as a private investigator. Apparently, I have a talent for uncovering cheating spouses. Career change? Maybe. This whole thing has been weirdly empowering. Any word from Nick? He called me an hour ago. Made some threats, called me some names. Pretty standard, angry ex-boyfriend stuff. He called me too. Seemed more focused on the legal trouble than the personal drama. Good. That means our plan is working. We talked for a few more minutes, comparing notes and planning our next moves. The evidence was public now, spreading through social media and local news outlets. Nick's business was finished, and most of his victims were filing for divorce or separation. Maya, I said before hanging up, thank you. I couldn't have done this alone. Thank you for giving me the chance to get even. It's been therapeutic. After she hung up, I sat in Rick's bar for another hour, processing everything that had happened. 3 days ago, I'd been planning to propose to my girlfriend. Now I was single, homeless, and had just destroyed a man's entire life. I should have felt guilty. I should have felt like I'd gone too far. Instead, I felt free. My phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. This isn't over, N. I showed it to Rick. You should call the police, he said. And tell them what? That he sent me a vaguely threatening text? It's evidence of harassment. It's evidence that he's upset. Big difference. But as I walked out to my car that evening, I found myself looking over my shoulder. Nick Riley was desperate, humiliated, and facing serious legal consequences. That made him unpredictable. And unpredictable people were dangerous. I drove to the hotel where I'd booked a room for the week, checking my mirrors for any sign I was being followed. The parking lot was well lit and visible from the street, not the kind of place where someone could corner me without witnesses. In my room, I opened my laptop and began writing. The whole story, from beginning to end, complete with evidence and documentation. If something happened to me, I wanted the record to be clear. But as I typed, I realized I wasn't writing a confession or a farewell note. I was writing the final chapter of my revenge. Because tomorrow I had one last surprise for Nick, Riley, and Tessa. And this one would be public. The next morning, I woke up to find my viral engagement ring video had been shared over 100,000 times. Comments poured in from people sharing their own cheating stories, thanking me for my honesty, and asking for updates on my situation. Perfect. I set up my phone camera in the hotel room and hit record. Hey everyone, Ethan again. A lot of you have been asking for an update on my situation, and I promised I'd be honest with you, so here's the truth about what happened after I posted that first video. I told them everything. Tessa's affair, Nick's con game, the other victims, the money stolen from our joint account. I showed them edited versions of Maya's footage, faces blurred for privacy, but voices clear enough to understand the scope of the deception. I'm sharing this not for sympathy, but because I think people deserve to know when they're being manipulated. My girlfriend wasn't just cheating on me. She was funding a predator who was destroying multiple families. I held up printouts of bank statements showing the transfers to Nick's account. This is $1,500 a month of our money. Money we saved for our future. Going to pay her boyfriend's rent. Money he used to wine and dine other married women while their husbands worked to support their families. I paused, looking directly into the camera. Some people might say I went too far with my response, that I should have just broken up with her quietly and moved on. But I don't think predators should be allowed to operate in the shadows. I think they should be exposed to the light. I uploaded the video to all my social media accounts and sent copies to local news outlets. Within an hour, it had been viewed 50,000 times. My phone started ringing immediately. The first call was from a reporter at Channel 7 News. "Mr. Doyle, we'd like to interview you about your situation. Would you be available this afternoon?" The second was from a producer at a national morning show. "We're doing a segment on social media and relationship betrayal. Your story is exactly what we're looking for." The third was from Tessa, screaming incoherently about lawsuits and defamation before I hung up on her. The fourth was from Maya. "Holy crap, Ethan, you're everywhere. Channel 7 just called me for comment. What did you tell them?" "The truth. That Nick Riley is a predator who systematically targeted married women and that you exposed him when the police wouldn't act." "The police wouldn't act?" "I may have implied that we tried official channels first. It's not technically a lie. Fraud and extortion are crimes, even if we didn't report them until after we gathered evidence." By noon, my story was trending on 3 different social media platforms. #EngagementRingRevenge became a hashtag, with thousands of people sharing their own stories of betrayal and revenge. More importantly, local news had picked up the story. Nick's photo was on television, identified as a fitness trainer accused of running an elaborate affair scheme. His shop was shown with a closed sign in the window. I was getting dressed for my Channel 7 interview when someone knocked on my hotel room door. I looked through the peephole and saw 2 police officers. "Mr. Doyle, we'd like to speak with you about Nick Riley." I opened the door. "Officers, what can I do for you?" "We understand you've made some serious accusations against Mr. Riley. We'd like to get your statement." "Of course, come in." For the next hour, I walked them through everything Maya and I had discovered. I showed them the evidence, explained our methods, and provided contact information for all the victims. "This is quite a comprehensive investigation," one officer noted. "You should consider a career in law enforcement." "I'm happy as an engineer. I just don't like being made a fool of." "Understandable. We'll need to take copies of this evidence. Already prepared." I handed them a USB drive containing everything. That's organized by victim with timestamps and supporting documentation. After they left, I drove to the Channel 7 studio for my interview. The reporter, Sarah Chen, was professional but clearly fascinated by the story. "What made you decide to go public with this?" she asked. Initially, it was just hurt and anger. But as I learned more about Nick's operation, I realized this wasn't just about my relationship. He was systematically exploiting vulnerable women and destroying families. Someone needed to stop him. Some viewers might say your response was disproportionate, that you could have simply broken up with your girlfriend and moved on. Those viewers have never had their trust betrayed and their savings stolen to fund their partner's affair with a serial predator. I'm not sorry for exposing the truth. What's next for you? I'm starting over. New apartment, new perspective on relationships, and hopefully some peace knowing that Nick Riley won't be able to hurt anyone else. The interview aired that evening during the 6 o'clock news. By the time it was over, my phone was buzzing with notifications, messages of support from strangers, friend requests from other betrayed spouses, interview requests from national media, and one text that made me smile. "Saw you on TV, you looked good. Proud of you. Mom." But the message that satisfied me most came from Maya. "Nick's been arrested, fraud charges, his shop is being seized by the IRS. It's over." I was celebrating with a beer in my hotel room when someone knocked on the door again. This time it was Tessa. She looked terrible. Red eyes, disheveled hair, the kind of exhaustion that comes from crying for hours. "Can we talk?" she asked. "I don't think there's anything left to say. Please, 5 minutes." Against my better judgment, I let her in. "I saw the interview," she said. The whole world thinks I'm a monster. The whole world thinks you made bad choices. There's a difference. Ethan, I know I screwed up. I know I hurt you, but did you have to destroy my entire life? I didn't destroy your life, Tessa. I revealed the life you were already living. My job fired me. Did you know that? They said I was a liability after the story went viral. Medical sales companies don't like employees who steal money and lie to their partners. Bad for the corporate image. I never stole anything. You took $1,500 a month from our joint account to pay Nick's rent. What would you call that? I was helping someone I cared about, with money that wasn't yours to give. She started crying again, and for a moment, I almost felt sorry for her. Almost. What do you want me to do, Tessa? Take it all back? Pretend it never happened? I want you to remember that you loved me once, that we had something real. We did have something real, and you threw it away for a con artist who was using you. He said he loved me. He said he loved all of them. That was his job. Tessa looked around the hotel room, taking in the sparse furnishings and single bed. Is this where you're living now? Temporarily, I'm looking at apartments. You could come home. We could try to work this out. There is no home, Tessa. I gave notice on the apartment, and there's no we to work out. So that's it? 3 years together, and you're just done? I was done the moment you chose Nick over me. Everything since then has just been cleanup. She stood to leave, then turned back one final time. I hope you're happy, Ethan. I hope destroying my life was worth it. It wasn't about destroying your life. It was about taking back mine. After she left, I sat alone in the quiet hotel room, processing the events of the past week. A week ago, I'd been planning to propose to a woman who was betraying me with a predator. Tonight, I was single, semi-famous, and completely free. My phone buzzed with one last message of the day. It was from Maya. Drinks tomorrow to celebrate? I'm buying. I typed back, absolutely, we earned it. As I prepared for bed, I thought about Rick's warning about standing too close to the explosion. He'd been wrong about one thing. I hadn't been standing too close. I'd been the one lighting the fuse. And watching Nick Riley's world burn down had been the most satisfying thing I'd ever done. Outside my hotel window, the city lights twinkled like stars, full of possibility and new beginnings. Tomorrow, I'd start looking for that new apartment. Maybe take Maya up on her offer to help me navigate the dating world again. But tonight, I was content to sit in the quiet satisfaction of a job well done. Justice, it turned out, tasted better than revenge. And it was completely legal.